CIA Director John Ratcliffe just released a report which concludes that former CIA Director John Brennan, former FBI Director Jim Comey, and James Clapper committed treasonous behavior, fabricating evidence in the Russia collusion hoax against Donald Trump in the 2016 election. These findings reveal an orchestrated internal treasonous coup that was orchestrated against the incoming president, our guy, President Donald Trump. I'm going to break down everything for you, as I always do in my handy outline. And also, if you want a copy of these research notes, I always give them away for free. Stick around to the end. I'll tell you exactly how to do that. But first, we have to talk about this. The big, beautiful bill has just passed the House. It was just signed by Speaker Johnson, and it is headed to the president's desk, which will definitely get signed by him by tomorrow, our birthday, our country's amazing holiday, July 4th. What an amazing occasion. Hypocrite and fraud, Hakeem Nobody's Dream, Jeffries spoke for 8.5 hours filibustering, which I don't really understand, because if you look at these former past tweets, it contradicts everything that he said that he was against. Check this out. Here you can see in the top left-hand corner, this was posted back in 2021. The filibuster, Hakeem says, is a Jim Crow era relic that has been used to stop progress for decades. The cult has no interest in governing. Abolish the filibuster so we can handle the people's business. And then bottom left, now might be a good time to remind America, I'm not making this up, these are actual tweets. Now might be a good time to remind America that the filibuster does not appear anywhere in the Constitution. And then bottom right, the filibuster is a racially tinged artifact of the Jim Crow era. We cannot let it stand in the way of progress. So just like everything Hakeem does and everything that this hypocrite party does, nothing but absolute hypocrites. That's why I call them the hypocrites. They don't believe in anything. They don't stand for anything. The real reason that he engaged in this filibuster for over 8.5 hours was because he just wanted to break the record, because minutes within breaking the record, what does he do? He stops and sits down. It's never for you. They don't fight for us. They don't fight for Americans. They don't fight for law-abiding citizens. What they do is they fight for illegals, criminals, rapists, thugs, and their own self-interest. Period. That just proves everything. Hakeem, you are worthless. You're nothing. You stand for nothing. You're an empty black hole. That's what you have in your heart. You need to reassess everything. Never mind the fact that every time you speak, I think you cure insomnia a little bit further. He's the most impossible dude to listen speak. I don't know about you. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. One of the things that he said as one of his talking points was speaking against the big, beautiful bill, which just passed the House. He said that this is going to give deportation steroids and ramp up the deportation initiatives of Trump and the America First agenda. Like I needed any more convincing. I'm sold, brother, on that one. Let me know if you are too in the comments down below. Okay, let's get into this amazing scandal right here. Here is the actual document that was released by the director of the CIA, John Ratcliffe. I'll leave a link in my notes if you want to check out the whole thing. It's 8 pages long. There's some redacted parts, but I'm going to cover everything and break it down so you don't have to. But I will leave a link in my notes if you choose to get a free copy of my notes. You can also Google online. So let's get to my notes. So this document, which came out kind of a couple of days ago, reveals flaws in the 2016 Russia interference assessment, including a rush timeline and political pressure. Guess who was behind that? Well, we've got the Obama, the deep state, the entire cabal, all of them, the establishment, essentially, the people who hate America. This just proves, I'm going to get into this in just a second, but it just proves Trump was right about everything. The controversy centers on whether the assessment was politically motivated with potential impacts on public trust and future intelligent reforms. So the CIA's declassified tradecraft review of the 2016 ICA assessment on Russian election interference exposes procedural failures and political manipulations that expose a treasonous plot. There's no other way to classify this. The rush timeline betrayed standards. The ICA's compressed schedule curtailed rigorous analysis, a reckless deviation from intelligence norms that risked misleading the nation, tantamount to undermining national security. What that essentially means is the standard practice is 60 to 90 days. Brennan, Comey, and other intelligence agencies, because they all targeted Trump, they only took 16 days to say, nope, he's a Russian spy. He's a Russian puppet. He's an illegitimate president, and they call us election deniers. Restricted access hid the truth. Strict compartmentalization blocked drafters from critical intelligence, creating a skewed assessment that suppressed evidence and betrayed the public's right to an honest accounting. Sidelined oversight weakened democracy, marginalizing the National Intelligence Council, the standard bearer for impartial coordination, eroded checks and balances. They didn't care about checks and balances. They don't care about the Constitution. A disloyal act that enabled unchecked bias. Leadership overreach subverted loyalty. CIA Director John Brennan, FBI Director James Comey, and DNI James Clapper's excessive influence pressured analysts, prioritizing political agendas over fidelity to objective truth. A betrayal, by the way, of their oaths. Unverified dossier tainted integrity. Brennan's insistence on including the unverified Steele dossier, despite objections, introduced deliberate falsehoods into a national security document, a treacherous act that misled policymakers and the public. This Brennan guy, my gosh, this guy, you want to talk about abuse of power. Comey, Brennan, Obama, Kamala, Biden, the whole lot of them. It's really just apropos of the entire consensus and behavioral patterns of the Hippocrates. It's them first. All right for me, but not all right for thee. That's their motto. That's their modus operandi. Selective evidence misled the nation. Omitting intelligence showing Putin's ambivalence about the election outcome falsely amplified the Trump favoring narrative, a manipulative omission that betrayed the electorate's trust. By the way, I never wanted to believe it about what happened in 2020. But the more I dig, the more I research, the more I investigate, what an absolute scam. Maybe even bigger than the cover-up of a president who literally had mental incontinence. You could say that. The 2020 election, what they did, I'm 100%, 110% in the belief that election was completely stolen. 110%. Premature consensus stifled dissent. Brennan's pre-coordination claim of strong consensus coerced analysts, suppressing honest debate in a manner that undermined the nation's intelligence apparatus. Media leaks, of course, the apparatus is behind this. Media leaks manipulated the public. Leaks to major outlets before the ICA's completion shaped a biased narrative. Trump never stood a chance. A disloyal act that prejudiced public perception and eroded democratic discourse. CBS just got fined. Trump was awarded $30 million for doctoring that interview with Kamala Harris. I demand that there be more restitution for the American public. That had a damning effect, a tainted effect on the election. So where is our restitution? Where is our award for being duped, for fooling millions and millions of Americans during one of the most, if not the most consequential elections in modern political history? Where is our retribution? Can somebody tell me? Let me know in the comments. I have no idea. These findings reveal an orchestrated internal treasonous coup orchestrated against an incoming president of the United States. Since the man walked down those stairs 10 years ago in 2015, walked down that escalator with beautiful Melania by his side, these Hippocrates, the Schumers, the Obamas, the Pelosi's, the Schiffs, the Nancy Cheney, what the hell's her name? Dick Cheney's daughter. You know who I'm talking about. I don't even care. She doesn't even matter. They have done nothing but interfere, obstruct, deviate. They tried to smear him, discredit him, defame him, bankrupt him, imprison him, assassinate him. We're coming up on the 1-year anniversary of July 14th, 2024, that infamous day that will forever live in infamy, when President Trump was nearly, I mean, a molecule, a hair breadth away from literally another civil war, in my opinion. That's what would have happened. We were broadcasting live when that happened. I will never forget. The only broadcast I've ever done in the history of my career where I had to walk away because I was physically ill after seeing what just happened. Fun fact, President Trump did over 96 or 196 rallies in 2024. The only one that was ever televised by CNN was the Butler rally. What does that tell you? We have enemies within. This report proves that. Our guts prove that. Everything that we've uncovered, our due diligence, qualitative and quantitative research, the receipts that I have collected throughout the last 36 months, proves that. We have enemies within, which is why the mission of our channel is to make common sense go viral. You can't trust a thing that this propagandist apparatus puts out. Not a thing. Now you've got Brian Stetler and all these fake journalists and Jim Acosta. Oh my gosh, I can't believe CBS paid Trump. You can't believe CBS paid Trump? You can't believe that Paramount caved in? Instead of actually saying, you know what, shame on 60 Minutes, shame on those reporters, shame on the producers, shame on Kamala Harris for allowing the American people to be hoodwinked, for allowing a doctored interview which has major consequences on people voting in the most consequential election in the history of our country. Instead of looking at that, instead of pointing the fingers at themselves, taking a little self-accountability, a little self-audit, what do? They say, you got Maria Shriver, this is an injustice, this is a crime, this is an attack on our First Amendment rights. No, you guys just have to tell the truth. Just stop lying and everything will be all right. When you get caught in a lie, you attack. Whether you bring up the race card, you attack him as an authoritarian, a fascist, a Nazi, all this BS. It just proves that you guys don't care about America and you'll do anything to retain power, point blank, period. So tap that thumbs up. Let me know what you think of what we talked about here today in this report that was released by John Ratcliffe. If you want a copy of our research notes, you can get it for free. There's a copy link. Just click on that link and you can download it for free in the pinned comment and in the description of this video if you want it. Check out these videos coming up on the screen right here, just in case you missed them. Tap my face right here to subscribe and follow. It's absolutely free. Join us. Let's make common sense viral. God bless you. God bless the USA and all who defend her. I'll see you soon.